Okay, I think I might do this to where I record my whole trading session, and then at the end of the day, I'll chop it up for the trades that I took, and we'll go over what I was thinking, what my bias was, and what went wrong, what went right, everything like that. So, I edited it, chopped it up, and I guess we'll just play and see. So this was the AM session on Nasdaq. 9:30 we opened up, and we what did we do at 9:30? 9:30 we took that buy side liquidity, and then we displaced down, but I didn't see any confirmation enough. um it was just weird, right? It didn't give us confirmation right after taking that buy side that it wanted to continue down. Didn't take anything, but once we came back up and we popped into that 5 minute and that 15-minute SIBI right there that we have, this SIBI right in here, I started really liking it because we were rejecting it. So I ended up getting in shorts here, and I was targeting these lows, the very lows that were created all over here, because there was equal lows like 1, 2, 3. So I had a really good feeling that we're gonna hit those lows. Now you're gonna see, you see my stop loss. My stop is right around this. It's like this candle around a little bit higher, like right around this area, which is a really really valid stop loss. It wasn't a big stop loss. It was 20 something points. But what I'm catching myself doing all the time is looking at the money, looking at the P&L, and trying to mitigate risk as much as possible. So this is what I was saying before, like even on my mental video that I just put out yesterday, I even said like my bias is right most of the time. It really is, but then like I'll do something to get out, stop myself out. You see, so like we got this push down, and I'm over here getting a little bit nervous. Like, all right, we're getting what I wanted. 19 and three quarter risk. Let me lower it to 9 points, 10-point risk. That didn't make any sense. I had no reason to move that stop loss. There was absolutely no reason to move that stop loss except the fact that my emotions are getting in the way and I don't want to lose money. It's as simple as that. I had no reason to move it. Now, what I did see was this 5 minute had a little bit of an imbalance. So I thought, hey, we pushed in there. We're kind of being wicky. Let me lower my risk. But in reality, I should have just not touched it. I should have just left it. And you see, we ran right through it. But as you can see, remember my original stop was right around this candle's like mid port portion, and we never got there. So I'm checking out the macro, seeing what's what. And you can see we actually just ended up displacing down right after that. So I got in on the consolidation, and then we had the manipulation up on the 1 minute, and then displacement down. So number one, if I didn't move my stop loss, I wouldn't have been stopped out, and this trade would have been still super super valid. But I am happy that I ended up getting back in here. Only thing is, I could have added into this position, or I could have just not taken the loss to begin with. So as you see, like I'm hesitating to even hit the sell button because I just took a loss, and now my mental is like, I don't want to take another loss. I don't want to take another loss, and it's like kind of like freaking myself out for really no reason at all. So you see, 27.5 about, or I was at 19.75, so $1 off. But either way, that high that we took was 9.05, and that was nowhere near my stop loss. I would have been fine on that first original trade. So at this point, I see it pushing down, and I'm like, maybe it's not going to come back into where my sell limit is. And then I'm watching the bonds and Dixie to see how they're reacting, and I'm realizing that I'm taking too much weight from them. I did the same thing when I was watching SMT and what ES was doing. I take too much weight from what it's doing and not really paying attention to what Nasdaq is doing. So you see here, I'm like, I already put my finger on the trigger to cancel this order because I'm thinking, oh, if it comes back, it's gonna be really wicky, and it's probably gonna go up because look at the 5 minute, it's rejecting, and let's see what happens. I cancel it. I get nervous and I cancel it. Why? Because I see those wicks. I see that 5 minute being super super wicky, but at the same time, I didn't pay attention to this 1 minute right here. We have the with consolidation, Manipulation, we push up, we sweep these highs, and then we displace back into the range, and now that it's a perfect setup. This right here is the perfect setup for me to take. Like maybe I shouldn't have taken this first trade, but this right here is the perfect setup. Would be the only trade that I need for the day. So we wick in. As soon as we get in there, we reject and it starts going my way. Why is this so bright? So today it was a weird day. You see these 5 minutes and this 1 minute. It wasn't a straight shot, and I need to continue to work on getting comfortable with this price action. Um, it was just funky. Like look at these 5 minutes. It's all wicks, very small bodies. So it was taking all my confidence away from every trade that I was taking. And you can see me over here, kind of nervous, scratching my face. Oh, actually, you can't see me. Now you can. We'll go like this. Doubles, doubles. So back and forth, just looking instead of just letting the trade play out. I'm doing too much. I need to just let the trade play out. It's simple as that. Let the trade play out. Once I'm in, just leave it. Don't touch it. So what I'm looking at here and why I have my finger on the trigger is because I see that we're in a 15-minute BISI and a 5-minute BISI. So you see we're in the 15-minute BISI right here, and we're in a 5-minute BISI, and we had really no 5-minute market structure shift, but we don't need it, right? Because that 1 minute is giving us the market structure shift here and here. I'm looking back at it now. I see like that was a displacement. There was really no reason for me to get out here. What happens here is I see it rejecting this 5 minute. I get scared right away, and I exit. I exited. There was really no reason to exit. I'm looking at bonds going up, and I'm looking at Dixie going down, and that usually, if Dixie's going down, Nasdaq indices they're going up. If bonds are going up, indices are usually going up, but that's not what happened. The drawn liquidity was very very clear, so I was giving more weight to bonds and Dixie than I was the clear drawn liquidity that we were having. And as you can see, that would have ran to TP. That was 67 points. So at this point, right, because I'm putting all that weight on Dixie and the bonds, right, I keep checking it. What is it doing? What is it doing? It's still pushing up. Now I'm like, okay, that 5-minute rejection and that 15-minute rejection is valid. That's a valid rejection. I'm happy I got out at this point. I'm like, yeah, I think longs are going to be the move here. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, look at the 1 minute. We created a fair value gap, a BISI. But in reality, I'm looking back at it now. I guess we did create a market structure shift here. That is a market structure shift. So then I move my limit entry to here because I'm like, I don't think we're going to come all the way down here. We just had a market structure shift here. And now I'm waiting to see, do I want to get in these longs? I'm marking down my 5-minute SIBI or 1-minute SIBI. And now I'm second guessing because it just tapped into that SIBI and it kind of rejected. So I was like, you know what? No, it looks like it's still strong. I see bonds doing what they're doing. I see Dixie doing what it's doing. I'm like, all right, I think we get in here and ride it up to these highs for buy side liquidity. So you see, I'm giving way too much weight to Dixie and the bonds. Just way too much. I don't need to do that. So what I should have seen here is look at us rejecting one more time. All we did was tap in again into this original displacement down and reject. There was no reason for me to get into longs here. Now I got lucky getting out of longs here because I did get out. I'll ruin it for you. I got out for some profit, but I got lucky because it could have just completely displaced and went all the way down and just stopped me out fully. So I have my finger on the trigger, thinking if we close below this first, this first 1 minute BISI, I'll get out for a small loss. So I'm waiting to see. I'm like, okay, it's keeping it. It's holding it, but then we do have this 1 minute SIBI. Let's see how this reacts. If this SIBI holds, if it doesn't hold, that'll determine what I'm gonna do. So I really like that it was pushing up nice and strong through it. I wanted to see it run through that SIBI, but it didn't. Once I saw that it didn't and it closed below it, I started hesitating a little bit and realizing, maybe this trade is not that good. Maybe our draw on liquidity is still those lows. So I'm seeing the 5 minute, the 15 minute, the 1 minute all starting to kind of, yeah, they're pushing up, and but they're still rejecting that. As soon as I'm seeing this rejection off this for the third time, now I'm like, okay, there's a good chance we're gonna get out. There's a good chance that this is not gonna continue. If it needs to blow past, for me, it needs to blow past that 1 minute SIBI. And that was really nice pump up. Now I'm like, all right, cool. There we go. We got what we needed, and I needed it to close below. But once I saw this instant rejection, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm a lot less confident now. I'm finger on the trigger as soon as I see it pushing down and getting out, or pushing down and rejecting. I'm gonna get out. It's failing to break through that. So as soon as I saw it was failing through to break through that 1 minute SIBI, I got out, and luckily I did, because I would have got stopped out right away. So I believe that was my last. Okay, no, we have one more. So we have one more trade. At this point, I'm up for the day a little bit, not a lot. What I'm seeing right there on this 1 minute, what I'm seeing is a market structure shift, displacement. We have a BISI. We just took sell side. We just took all the sell side. So I'm thinking this is the perfect setup to run these buy sides, and possibly even this buy side. I'm thinking we're gonna go all the way up to 16,050, 200 points. I'm like, yeah, this is good. Like this has to be a valid trade. We just took sell side. We had a 1 minute market structure shift. But at this point, I'm up, so I want lower risk. So I only do a 3 contract limit. So I'm seeing bonds go down. So I'm like, that's interesting. We did get in, tagged in. And I lower my risk because I'm like, okay, this is looking weird. Also, what I was realizing was 15 minute had a strong push down. We're not bouncing off of this BISI right away. Another thing on the 5 minute is now an inverse. First supported it, now it's just rejecting off of that. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm like, okay, that's why I lowered risk, and we just shoot right through it and take us out. So I'm not too sure about this trade. Any other day, I feel like this would have been a valid trade to run for this buy side up here. This high, because like I said, we had our consolidation. Well, not even consolidation. We had our sell side taken, our major sell side taken, which was one low, two low, three, four, 5 lows in the 1 hour chart. Well, you could do 1, 2, 3 lows in the 1 hour chart. That was taken. And then we had a displacement up on the 1 minute with a market structure shift, with an order block, but it didn't hold. So I still think this trade would have worked any other day, but not today. So long story short is, if I didn't move my stop loss on the very first trade, I wouldn't have had to sit through all of these, take any other losses. One trade would have been more than sufficient, and I would have banked 67 points instead of like a total of 10 or 15. So I think that's the end of it. Yeah. And that's the end of it. So I still got things to work on. Fear, mostly. Being afraid of taking the loss. Because being afraid of taking the loss leads me every time to taking more losses. And I feel like most of the time my first two trades are really valid, and after that, all I do is can we make this bigger? And then after that, what I do is I just after the first most of the times my first and second trade are very valid, but my fear takes me out of the trade and makes me do something stupid that I shouldn't have done. And what that does afterwards is send me on tilt because I see, okay, the trade is moving in my direction. It's doing exactly what I thought it would do. I knew I was right. I knew it was right. Why didn't I get in this? And then I exit early, or I start chasing it when it's at the lows. I start doing silly things. So I need to trust, and I need to work on moving my stop loss. Like I don't need to move my stop loss right away. I need to move my stop loss to something that's valid, right? And like on this first trade, that was valid. Like this, my first stop loss was valid. This stop loss was not. Because where was the stop loss? Our stop loss was right above pretty much the candle that created the 5 and 15 minute SIBI. That was a perfect stop loss. I didn't even need it that high. But that was a perfect stop loss. I had no reason to move that stop loss at all besides fear and greed. Greed. Greed and fear. So that's that. That's the recap. Ended the day positive on this account. Very little. And break even on my other account because the PM session was quite ugly. Let's see if we see that. PM session was quite ugly. So as you can see, this is the AM session. Then we had lunch, and then we had our PM session. We had a 5 minute BISI right here at equilibrium. I took longs in here. It didn't work out. Took longs in here, saw a reject and got out. Small profit. Switched biases, took shorts, got stopped out. Took shorts again. I think I got stopped out. Took longs here, so saw that it was rejecting. Exited for a small profit. Took shorts here. Yeah. Okay, I took long somewhere over here. I don't have it because I was like it's running for this buy side. So I was like we got a few points left. I was on the 15 second. I was in the 15 second, and then I think I took longs like around here. It crashed down. I held it. It came up here. I took it, and then saw that after it took the liquidity up here, it kind of had like an instant rejection. So I jumped in shorts here. It dumped down like here, and I was kind of getting iffy. It was also 353, so I took small profits, pretty much breaking even on the day on that other account. So that's that. Till tomorrow.